Yes, sir. Welcome back to another Shop or Die film session. I'm your host of the Shop or Die podcast, Mual. And listen, you know why we're here. Run it back, Sam Howell. He's benched for the second straight week. Ron Rivera has made that decision this week against the New York Jets. And that's what we're talking about. We're going to talk about just a couple plays for Sam that stands out that I think is important to understand why he got benched again. The confidence factor is a real concern, but there is also some other details that are starting to stand out in terms of his play and how it contributes to some of the bad traits that Sam Howell has, right? I don't think that everything, as always, I even said it last week, everything is not always on Sam, right? We're only showcasing what's in his control, right? We need to always make that clear. Circumstances aside, you're talking about three bad drops from his teammates that led to some missed opportunities for Washington, right? One of them led to an interception, even though he threw that late, right? But then you're talking about a slip for his second interception and Curtis Samuel, where again, it's not the receiver's fault, it's not Sam's fault, but the defense was there to make the offense pay, ultimately leading to that second interception. But what I think led to his benching was the fact that you only completed 6 of your passes on 22 attempts, right? There were some missed opportunities within those where you understand you can't allow your team to lose the game in the fashion in which they were trending to lose, and you have to get Jacoby some time. So I don't think it was a terrible game from Sam Howell, in my opinion, but I do think some of the things that popped up against the Rams popped up again. And obviously his confidence seems to be affected by it. He's not trusting some of the things that he's seeing. He's holding on to the football way too long. And I think ultimately, as we all know, that's what leads to what happened for Sam. So without further ado, let's get into just a couple of plays on this episode or this breakdown of Sam Howell. As always, like, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's get right into it. Chop it down. So as I mentioned, let's go ahead and kind of clear some of the initial things out the way, right? We're talking about the first play of the game, Curtis Samuel drop, where things are actually blocked there pretty well. It's schemed up pretty well. You have a one-on-one opportunity in terms of your blocking assignment. Jahan Dotson, I think that is, leading out the block. And he's able to take control and stay in front of number 4 Reed, right? So you're talking about a big opportunity off rip. First play of the game that's just missed. You can't really blame that on Sam. Nobody can blame that on Sam. It's a pure drop. And then you're talking about the second play of the game where you're talking about that INT. And I said that he threw the ball late to Logan Thomas, right? It ultimately results in that interception. But let's kind of go back to kind of get a bigger picture of what's going on, right? And I want you to keep this conversation in mind as we go into one other play later in this film session, right? Is understanding when you have a window, right, as opposed to holding the football too long, when to throw the football. I don't know if he does or does not see Logan Thomas at this point, right? Because if you look at it from a different angle, you don't know if the defender is in the way, impeding his vision, or if he doesn't trust that he can get the football over the defender. But at the end of the day, with Logan releasing in the flat, the ball should be on his way out. And at this point, you're drilling it, and it's a hard catch because you're talking about, think about the angle of the catch. Logan Thomas is moving to his left. The ball is drilled to his back shoulder, right? And that's rough. And again, we're not blaming. I don't want to place any blame on either one. I mentioned 3 drops, right? Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas. The other one was John Bates later down in the game. We're not establishing blame, but what I'm saying in this instance is when you have a window to throw, let the football go. And this can be a contribution to the drop that led to the interception. It's always some things. It's not always one thing, right? So that's all that is. All right, so next we start looking into the third drive of the game for Sam Howell, where I think it's important to acknowledge how his inability to release the football on time or stay patient in the pocket contributes to negative plays or plays that should have had positive yardage, right? Now, this one was not a negative play. You dump the ball or get rid of the football and you live another down, right? But when you look at this play, right, you're talking about pre-snap motion. You're not going to see it on this angle or this version of the film. You're not going to see the motion, right? Oh, there it is right there. Whoopsies. But like the lack of movement indicates like they're staying in some sort of zone coverage, right? But when you see what's going on at the top of your screen with Logan Thomas, who widens out that defensive end before he comes out and breaks back inside for his route. Both Logan and the defender slips, right? But Logan gets back up immediately, right? And this is important because you can say that because the receiver slips, it clicks in Sam's head that he has to make something shake, right? Or he has to try and find his next read, right? Which could be the out route to, I think that's Jahan at the top of the screen. But part of the problem that hurts this offense is the following. When you look at it from this angle, right, you're looking at Logan. Logan is back up on his feet by the time that Sam Howell decides to bail. You have a clean pocket. So what are you not trusting, right, to suggest I cannot make this throw, or I cannot stay in the pocket long enough to make this throw? I have time. Why am I not making this throw? Secondly, when you look at this, this is a 2nd and 8. And the next play is going to make all the more sense when you think about the situation that they were in. This is a 2nd and 8. If you don't trust your ability to make this throw, or if you don't trust exactly what you're seeing, I don't know exactly what that is, right? You have the alley to scramble. And instead we have a throwaway. So for Sam, in that instance, when you see Logan Thomas riding out like that, it's one of the easier throws that you can make from the pocket. You don't have to bail on something like that. And I think that's the most important thing when you kind of understand the nuances between knowing when to leave the pocket, feeling pressure, or feeling pressure, right? Pay attention to what I'm doing. Like that internal clock saying, oh my goodness, I got to do something. I got to make something happen. And I think those are kind of what you're seeing right here is a person who feels like he has to make something shake because that receiver failed. It induces panic, right? And these are all my opinions. I don't know anything about Sam, but that's what it looks like. All right, so next play is part of the conversation that we've seen several times throughout the season and how a defense can manipulate Sam pre-snap and post-snap. They even talked about it, the Jets did after the game. Turns out how they were able to oversee or mitigate Howell's effectiveness as a quarterback, as a thrower, right? So when you look at this play, you got your 2 high safeties, right? They're pretty shallow in a sense. They're not too far off the ball, but this is a 3rd and 8. So this is the very next play after the play that we just showed with Logan Thomas, right? And in this play, you have your 3-by-1 alignment. Trips formation to the field side, which is the bottom of your screen, and you have an isolated receiver at the top of your screen and Byron Pringle, with your running back attached to the side of the isolated receiver. I think that's Antonio Gibson. I'm not too sure. I can't really see from this angle. Whatever. Anyway, you're looking at this situation, right? And you're seeing that you have a 2 high shell and you don't know what type of coverage this is yet. The other angle that I will show the pre-snap motion, and it'll indicate that it's some form of man coverage for Washington. The issue here, and we'll let this run, you can make the case that there was nobody open, right? That this was a situation where it's hard to make a play when receivers aren't getting open, right? Or creating enough separation, right? Those are all valid considerations when you look at this play on its surface. But when you look at the pre-snap from a 2 high going down to a single high, right? Understand that this safety alongside the numbers, so the tallest safety or the highest safety on the screen, and when you look at how he's playing, you see that he's focused on Terry McLaurin, right? Guess who else is focused on Terry McLaurin? Sam Howell. You have a clean pocket here, right? And I think part of this is talking about processing. I'm not saying that this play would have resulted in a touchdown. This play would have resulted in a big play or even a completion. It could have been incompleted, right? It could have been intercepted. We don't know the result of the play, but the process is what we want to kind of extrapolate. We want to get that part out, flush it out so we can understand what's going on. And I think for Sam, when you look at this play, a person who's staring down Terry McLaurin, you miss an opportunity. And then on top of that, you escape the pocket, you create a scramble drill, and it results in almost a fumble or an interception, one or the other, right? So let's kind of go back again. We talked about all the elements, and then we talked about, I hinted to a missed opportunity, right? So when that 2 high shell shows post snap that it's a cover 1, look at your slot receiver. Terry McLaurin is the receiver at the bottom of your screen. He's at the 10-yard line, right? And at the slot in between Terry and Logan Thomas is Curtis Samuel, who has a deep over route. You got 2 digs. You got a front side dig, you got a backside dig. And in between those 2 digs is a deep over route. I mentioned that single high safety, right? Paying a lot of attention to Terry McLaurin. And Sam Howell, who was also paying attention to Terry McLaurin, before he decides he has to run. Curtis Samuel, who's at the middle of your field right now, has the inside of the cornerback, the slot cornerback, and he has nothing but opportunity in front of him if the ball is thrown his way. We don't know the result of the play. We don't know if it's going to be a completion, an incompletion, an interception, a PBU, penalty. We don't know. We don't even get to that point because Sam scrambles. But what I'm saying is here, when you look at the fact that, or the assumption that receivers aren't getting open or creating separation, you want your quarterback to make a play as well, right? You don't need to build a pocket. This is talking about anticipation here, right? At the top of your drop, you see where the safety is. You know that your receiver has a dig, right? Get off your read. Work your progressions. The next person to his right is Curtis Samuel, who has a one-on-one opportunity. And if you give him good ball placement, especially in man coverage, whose cornerbacks, right, their eyes are on their receiver and not the quarterback. They have man eyes. They do not have zone eyes. You know that you can make this throw because the receiver who has the dig, the cornerback who has the dig with Byron Pringle, who was isolated, he's not going to make a play on Curtis Samuel, right? He doesn't even know the ball is thrown, right? So this is what we're talking about. At this moment, Curtis Samuel has a step before he slows down, right? But now Sam is scrambling and moving outside the pocket. We kind of understand that part now, right? Do we understand that, you know, within timing of the play, within Sam moving off of his first read and working his progressions, you have an opportunity to Curtis Samuel. So what is Sam looking at, right? Within the timing of the play, he's looking at Terry. You see his eyes. You see where he's looking, right? And remember what I said with the safety. The safety is showing, that single high safety is showing he is in no position to cover Curtis. He's also locked in on Terry. So now at this point, he feels, I have to get out of here. I'm not seeing anything else. I have to get out of here. And so we scramble. And almost an interception or a fumble, depending on how you look at it, or depending on what could have happened. Either way, like it could have been a disastrous play, right? So I want to make this clear. When you ask for a quarterback and you want a quarterback to show progression, right? You want to see them throw with anticipation. You also want to see them have that arm strength and arm talent, right? The ball placement to throw a receiver open or even give him an opportunity to make a play under the football. And that is where you see receivers, right? When you hear the term like a receiver who, when the ball is in the air, they get faster. You know what I'm talking about. Like if you're listening to this point, I'm drawing a blank right now. But when the ball is in the air, they get faster. Like that is football speed, right? It's not the 40 time. It's me getting faster when the ball is in the air and I can go track it. You give an opportunity to a receiver, you never know what can happen out of that. So again, anticipation on this play, playmaking on this play is something as a passer that you saw Sam Howell not take advantage of or take the opportunity to do so because he was staring down Terry McLaurin. But also, we don't know if he was processing everything correctly post-snap, which ultimately results in his inability to get off his first read. Lastly, like I said, this was a short video, just some examples, because I said it wasn't a terrible day from Sam. There was an unfortunate series of events that resulted in his benching, but ultimately he didn't play good. He didn't play average. It wasn't good for Sam, but it wasn't a terrible game in my opinion. Even with the statistics, I don't think it was a terrible game. But there was some moments and there were some key moments. This one is a 3rd and 10, 26th play of the game, right? This was a completion to Terry McLaurin, right? And you're talking about a soft cover 4, quarters coverage. And for Terry, let's run this back. He's running, I call it a pivot route, but what he's doing is selling that cross first, that shallow cross, right? So you're starting to see, look at the fingers. The cornerbacks, right? They're pointing to Terry. They're communicating, right? But Terry is selling that crosser. So they're expecting that Terry is going to continue his route down the line towards Sam Howell's vision. But he works right back out. At this moment, what did I say? Soft cover 4, quarters coverage, right? That cornerback is nowhere near in a position to cover cover Terry McLaurin. But Sam, look how long it took for him to make this throw. And this is I'm gonna show you, right? Like how if you're able to get this pass off to Terry quicker, right? As he's pivoting back out towards the sideline, you're talking about a person who has room to run for probably even more than 10. Like, he's going to get the first down for sure, but he'll have at least opportunity to maybe even get more than 10. Nobody's focused on Terry pivoting back outside because they're expecting a shallow cross, somebody who the receiver is continuing his route across down the line of scrimmage, right? But here's my thing when I look at this. I don't even know if Sam sees him. It may be like literally height-wise. I don't even know if Sam can see Terry before he escapes the pocket. And then at this point, why did it take so long to release the football? When you do scramble, you know where Terry is, you know your play, similar to that 3rd and 8 where he missed Curtis Samuel on the over. You know your routes, your receiver routes. So why aren't we like locked in from a processing standpoint of where my receiver should be? So why isn't he getting rid of the football to the point where the defender isn't able to come back and make a play on Terry? So let's go ahead to the other angle to kind of show what I meant by maybe he doesn't see him, right? This isn't a matter of fact. I have no idea. But you see his eyes. It never really fully looks on to Terry until he gets outside of the pocket and he throws it late. It's not even in timing, right? Timing of the pivot route. So maybe, I don't know if his height gets in the way, because at this point, I don't know if he can see over Charles or Sadiq Charles. Charles Leno or Sadiq Charles. Either way, it takes him way too long to get rid of the football. And now you're talking about, instead of a first down or possible first down with big yardage attached to it, you're talking about a third and 10, and you're getting 8 yards out of that. And that's just not good. That's not good. As we said before, this ultimately led to his benching. This is the Curtis Samuel slip. Can't control that. Can't control Curtis Samuel slipping out of the backfield. It's unfortunate. And I guess I'll show this part because it's important to acknowledge, like, everything isn't his fault, right? But when you have that second turnover and you're already getting dubbed, you need something. And for Ron, he says he's going to go back to Jacoby Brissett, and they ultimately get themselves back into the game. But it's just unfortunate. So again, like I said with Sam, man, it just wasn't his day, and it's unfortunate that it wasn't his day a week after getting benched against the Los Angeles Rams. You see a quarterback who at times failed to pull the trigger. You saw a quarterback at times who, again, continues to lock onto his first read, but also showing like a processing failure where, you know, not only is he not being able to move off his progression, if he does, or if he escapes the pocket, he's slow to get rid of the football. And then I think about Jacoby Brissett, right? And I said I wasn't going to show plays of Jacoby Brissett, but there is one example where you can kind of see the differences in right now where Jacoby is versus where Sam Howell is. And maybe this has to do with a quarterback who knows he's not that mobile, right? He did get a 10-yard scramble, the literal play before this on this 3rd and 4 of his first drive. But you see that Jacoby Brissett is looking at Logan Thomas on the trip side, right? Versus cover 2. And he throws the football, pump fakes, But he's getting ready to throw the football because he thinks that Logan Thomas is open, but the linebackers converge on Logan pretty quickly. So Jacoby Brissett is processing this in real time, understanding that's not a good throw. But not only that, he's getting pressured. There's a defender driving Sadiq Charles into Jacoby's lap. But instead of panicking, right, he goes from the field side read to the backside curl and pivot out. I guess it's just a pivot route. I don't know. But see how quickly he's processing that, knowing where my other reads are, trusting where these receivers are going to be because I know the plays, right? And I think I know the coverage, right? And being decisive and assertive, bro. And that is the difference right now between Jacoby. That's just one small example. And I'm going to show this angle too, right? That's just one example of somebody being calm and collected in the pocket and showing what that can do for an offense so long as I'm confident in my decision. Even Eric Bieniemy spoke to that. So long as I'm confident in my decision, we can make things shake. And don't be afraid to make a mistake going 100 miles an hour. Simple as that, man. So with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this. Again, wasn't a lot of plays for Sam to kind of break down here, especially given the last game against the Los Angeles Rams. But hopefully this helps in making your decision on if you want Sam to stick around or not. Without further ado, we'll get up out of here. Appreciate y'all for watching. Until next time, man. Peace.
Trap it down, trap it down, you gon' trap it down. Trap it down, you gon' trap it down. Damn, set, watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive, this is Trap or Dive.